Good day, Chief here. It's been a while. Like I said, I keep thinking of ideas, but I just don't write them down. So, came up with this one, and I thought, gee, throughout my 28 years in my career, I rarely had a sick call permission slip to stay home to get quarters for the day, or for however long it takes to get better from the condition that you have. And I sat there and I thought, geez, I really didn't. I think I might have mentioned my Fort Riley experience. If not, I'll just repeat a little bit of it. Went into work one day with 104, 106 temperature. It was a nice cold wintry day. But of course, you got to go to sick call because you can't self-diagnose. And when I went, of course, the old crusty former warrant officer, because he was now a civilian working for the military, and came out and said, okay, where's this soldier who's complaining about 104 temperature? So I get in there after being triaged, because, you got to get triaged first, and they had this little notebook like, okay, what's your problem today? Well, I have 104 temperature. So they got to whip over to that page, and then, of course, they got corresponding pages to go to triage you. Never saw that again, that booklet, because I didn't hardly go to sick call. So when I went back to my first sergeant, he was like, okay, we've had it with this guy, because all he did is just gave me a cold pack, which is Cepacol, cough drops, and aspirin for your headache if you have a headache. And and I guess the battalion was having trouble with this warrant officer, because he was always returning everybody back to duty regardless. So my first sergeant said, well, first tell me what happened, and then second, you're going home for the day, and if you feel better tomorrow, come into work. And if I don't see you, do call to let me know that you're still 104 temperature. So that was like my first experience with sick call. Never went on sick call again. But I did have leave while I was in my first duty assignment, because I had surgery done, so I got 2 weeks of convalescent leave. And after 3 days, I was bored out of my skull. I bought one of those huge puzzles, the 4x4, 3.5, or 3 feet by 3 feet. I bought one of those to entertain myself. I had it together in 3 days. And it was like 1,000 some odd pieces, or maybe even 2,000. I don't remember how many pieces were in it. So I got bored on my only convalescent leave I think I ever received. Of course, like I said, I went into the military at an older age. So conditions came up. I think the next time I actually went to sick call, I was already a staff sergeant. I was an E6. And that was in Hawaii. It was really strange. I got sick like midday. I don't remember what it was. And I went to sick call, or the place where sick call is held, and nobody in there as far as soldiers being sick. They had already had all their sick call soldiers, and then a couple of the medics, whatever you want to call them, they came up to me and they're like, do you need something there, Staff Sergeant? And I go, yeah, I need to see a doctor. I said, I'm sick. Well, sick call's in the morning. I said, I know that. I wasn't sick in the morning. I just got sick like about 30 minutes ago. Oh, okay. Well, then finally a more higher ranking individual came out and said, Staff Sergeant, normally we see sick call in the morning, but since you're here, we'll go ahead and see you. Now, if I was probably a buck sergeant and below, like an E5 and a specialist, my previous ranks, he probably would have told me to go to the emergency room. And then, of course, you'd wait there for half a day, because I would have been really low priority to go get seen at the emergency room. The tongue is tied up. I don't know why. But because a Sergeant E5 and a Staff Sergeant E6 were considered junior NCOs. When you make E7 There's an E8 and E9, and then your senior. And my nose is itching. So they saw me, and then got sent back to work because can't remember what it was. And then the whole family got sick while we were in Hawaii, and we just felt like yuck after a day being together. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I really got mad because we went to the emergency room because it was after duty hours, so to speak. And everybody got examined, and we all basically had the same condition. But I really got upset because we weren't released yet, and this medic came in, gave me a shot. I was the only one that got this shot. I guess I was the most severe case. I don't know what was going on. And then he goes, oh boy. Whew, okay. And then he tells me, like about 2 minutes after the shot, oh, by the way, you're going to lose all your bodily functions in about 15 minutes. I go, excuse me? He says, yeah, you're going to end up wanting to take a sit. I said, we're not released yet. He goes, oh, because we were waiting on the son or the daughter to get fully released. And by the time all of us got released, I looked at my wife and I said, due to my condition, I don't want to be driving because I don't want to cause a wreck. And we barely made it home in time. And we had an outdoor shower next to the pool, and he was not joking, but thankfully it was mostly liquids out of the sewer system. That's it for sick call, I think, is my enlisted time. And then, I had minor surgery on my back while I was at Fort Stewart, which gave me a profile where I could not wear the battle rattle, as we call it, our TA-50, so I had to wear a soft cap that exercise. I think I talked about that briefly before, where my 2 Sergeant First Class kept looking out for me because every time I entered the secure area, there was always a Sergeant Major. There's always a Sergeant Major looking for problems. And they even stopped a couple officers. And of course, Sergeant Major was like, well, then why did you bring him out to the field? Well, he's vital. He's a squad leader. He's a section sergeant. I mean, I wore so many hats while I was at Fort Stewart. And that's one of the reasons why I became a warrant officer, was to wear lesser hats. And then I come to find out I wear just as many and more sometimes. Because as an officer, you get all these other responsibilities that you generally get as an NCO, working in the S3 or S2 or whatever. So, yeah. And then as warrant officer, I finally got my first quarter slip. I'm old, so I hit that 50-year mark, and it's time for we need to examine your sewer system, to be polite. So, of course, went to the pre-engagement or pre-operation, or whatever you want to call that, and they gave me this lovely gallon of this stuff you got to drink and hold down. This will clean out this way. And then, of course, they gave me those little squeeze bottles to give myself, I guess I can say, enemas. And not one, but 2 to clean out the other system, or the sewer system. And that was not fun. Put it in, hold it as long as you can, let it evacuate, wait a couple minutes, repeat process. Well, I did all that, and of course I couldn't sleep that night because my intestines were gurgling and making squeaky noises all night long, for lack of anything else. And because all the air was out of my system, all the food supposedly was out of my system, and the sewer system was mostly clean. Well, here's what's funny is that my first sewer system scope, I was conscious. My second one, I was put out, and then the doctor was quite surprised to find out that I was conscious during the first one. He says, we don't do that. I said, well, that's what they did, because, you know, they're talking to me what they're doing to me. You know, okay, we're going to put the snake up your sewer system, and after a while I heard tss, 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 tss. I'm like, am I leaking or something else leaking? Oh, no, the doctor goes, don't worry about that. That's us cleaning the camera lens with air. I said, so you're putting, after I evacuated everything, you're putting air back into my system? Yes. Well, guess what? My intestines started to cramp up because now they're getting air inside of them. So by the time they got done, I was in just as much pain I was the night before because, and I didn't sleep very well or didn't sleep hardly at all. And then now, and I felt great when I woke up or got up that morning. And now I feel just as bad as I was trying to sleep. And they're like, oh, is there anything else we can do for you? They're a warrant officer. I said, yes, I need a quarter slip. He goes, what? No, you can return to duty. I am in pain. I hardly slept last night. You just now put air. And I was like hunched over or bent over or just like trying to, you know, go into the fetal position, standing up. And they're like, are you okay? I go, no, you just put air back in me. And now I'm in just as much pain as I was last night. So the doctor looked to the nurse and said, do we even have a quarter slip? She goes, yes, we have those. And so they wrote me one. So, but as a warrant officer, you still got a sergeant that's in charge of your whereabouts and your condition. So I had to go deliver that to where my place of work. And of course, I was hunched over getting in there, and they're like, Chief, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. Here's my quarter slip. I'm going home. Chief, you needed someone to drive you home? I said, no, I can sit comfortably in the car. I said, I just can't walk very well. So I got home and had like 2 cans of soup because, you know, something thick and something liquidy and water to replenish fluids that are probably missing. And I slept a little bit that afternoon. And that's about the extent of my going to sick call. Seriously, I mean, got 1 quarter slip, got 1 convalescent leave. I didn't get any leave for the surgery on my backside. Went right back to duty. You know, I went in, they numbed the area, you know, took my uppers off and numbed the area, put that little donut where the hole's in the center and put that over me to sterilize the area, pulled it out. Looked like a bloody piece of buttered popcorn. They actually showed it to me. Fat is disgusting. It was really hard because I even touched it and I was like, ugh, because it was rubbing. And then the doctor said, yeah, this one was definitely needed to come out of there because it was just going to cause discomfort all the time. And then I did get sick one more time while I was at Fort Stewart where I got that surgery. I remember picked up the same thing, almost similar to what I picked up in Hawaii. I just got sick, and I went, and one of the warrant officers, he said, Sergeant, you're sick, go home. And I'm like, well, thank you, sir. And he says, go to sick call, ask them what you got, if they even know, but if not, you're released from it got me out of an exercise for 2 days. And when I went to pick up my kids at the babysitter, they were sick too with the same thing. My kids, not the babysitter. And I told her, I said, give me my kids. I hope you haven't done much with them. Because I said, we're all sick. And we were sick for another couple days, just feeling blah. And that's about it. So that's my sick call experience in the military. This is Chief. Freedom's not free. Like I said, new curtains, love it. I'm seeing myself with this with this blackness behind me, and I love it. So, freedom's not free. Chief out.